Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming into another video. All right, so before I settle in and listen to the Laker video I just did, I wanted to drop in and make the Miami Heat reaction video that I wanted to make earlier before I get to a point where I forget about it. The Miami Heat's roster needs to be detonated, man. You know, that's what it really comes down to. I don't think that there was anything today that I saw in that play-in game that made me feel good about that roster at all. Like literally nothing. Nothing. The only thing that I would even remotely consider keeping is Tyler Herro's contract. Everything else has to go. Everything. You have to detonate it, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because when I look on that roster, I think I see Tyler Herro and a bunch of stuff that has no upside at all. Guys, just a misevaluation of talent up and down the roster, mismanagement of roster spaces, just all types of stuff that's not good at all. The Miami Heat made the mistake of thinking, and this is just my opinion, but they made the mistake of thinking that and this is just my way of putting it, the rah-rah stuff is good enough to win basketball games in 2023. Pat Riley just didn't grow with the times, man. Every roster spot matters. And if you look at some of the teams that are really competitive, they have an influx of a bunch of young pieces. We mention it all the time. If you follow me, it's the same old stuff. But you got to have young players and a bunch of draft picks and stuff that makes sense. What they have is the opposite. They got old guys overpaid. They got a shooter on their team making 20,000 times more than he should, eating up the majority of their cap. And then you got like role players who are not especially good at anything, but just have made a solid rotation of bench players in the past. They're getting older and the team ain't getting better. They don't have any upside, so it's no movement. I'm talking about like Max Strus and Gabe Vincent and Caleb Martin. These guys ain't getting no better. They're just who they are, and they're getting older on top of that. And so it's like, okay, I'm looking at them, and I look at Kevin Love. I'm like, all right, Kevin Love is an isolated, nice piece. If you have just one guy his age, you're fine. Like the Lakers. You look at Lakers, Tristan Thompson. That's the one guy we got like that. That's it. You don't need no more than that. And then you look over, they got Udonis Haslem. You know damn well he shouldn't have a roster spot. Should have never had a roster spot. That man should have been forced into retirement 10 years ago. This is a fact. I know he's a nice rah-rah guy. He speaks. He's a motivational speaker. So am I. That does not mean I need a roster spot on a basketball team. So that's where they went wrong. When you have him in place, doing nothing with no upside for this long, you know what you don't have? Literally anything else that he could have been otherwise. Second round pick that possibly turns into Austin Reeves. Nope. First round pick that could have possibly turned into something else. Nope. A piece that you just pick up off the street somehow. None of it is possible when you let someone who doesn't have a role keep a roster spot. It's absolutely a losing move. Especially when you got Duncan Robinson. Especially when you got Kyle Lowry. Especially when you got all these other problems. Then you got Bam Adebayo, who only wants to play one side of the ball, sort of like Anthony Davis. Even though he's capable of playing two sides, he only want to play one. And then it's Jimmy, who is really, really good. But again, no upside to Jimmy. He's just a star. He's a superstar, Jimmy. He's going to be Jimmy. You give Jimmy a good situation, Jimmy will be good in that situation. You give him that, he's just going to be this. Miami needs to be exploded. They are where Utah was last year. It's run its course. It's overly expensive. It has no upside. And that means it needs to be detonated. There's nothing else to it. It needs to be exploded. If you want to keep Bam, you want to keep Jimmy, the problem is you're not going to be able to, in my humble opinion, because Duncan Robinson's not coming off the books. That's where it becomes a problem. Because you don't have the assets that would allow anybody to want to take any contracts that anybody would ever want from you. You know what I mean? Those contracts that you don't want, nobody's going to want to take from you because you don't have the assets to give them to make them worthy of taking. So you're just kind of stuck, and this is why I would trade stuff that I wouldn't want to trade otherwise to give me the equity necessary to give me that flexibility. So if I'm keeping Tyler Herro, it's definitely Bam and Jimmy that I'm moving, because I certainly can't move Duncan. I can't move Kyle. Those contracts are bad. So it's like, if I'm going to move those contracts, they're probably going to be in those trades. That way I can get rid of them. Moving them with Jimmy, moving them with Bam. That's the only way you're going to get rid of them. Duncan Robinson is no one in their right mind is taking that contract, not even for a small time. So what you probably want is the flexibility to be able to stretch it, which is what getting rid of Bam and getting rid of Jimmy will do for you. It will give you the flexibility to not only reset your timeline if you just want that thing to naturally expire. It won't be as much of a burden on your cap if you don't have nothing else that's next to it. But also it'd probably be easier to get rid of if that were the case. Because you can take back something that is less painful for you to hold on to and much more useful to you than a shooter that doesn't play any defense making $100+ million. So that's what you want to do. Probably trade it for a lesser ridiculous contract to you. It would probably be ridiculous to somebody else, but Duncan necessarily wouldn't be. That's how you do that. And you start your timeline over, just tank with somebody else's pick since you mortgage your own if you have. And get free agents into Miami, which shouldn't be too difficult to do. See, that's the problem. It's Miami. Gangsters get chubby and retire and move to Miami, right? Well, so do basketball players. That's the problem. So now everybody want to go retire in Miami and settle down and just drag their fan base down with them. And I'm like, if I were a Miami Heat fan, I'd be like, no, all of y'all need to get the hell out of here and give me some young talent. Keep my Tyler Hero. Keep my what's the rookie that they just drafted? Jovic. Definitely want to hold on to him. And that's pretty much the only two things I really need from the Miami Heat roster. Honestly. The Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, all these guys, they can go, man. You don't need none of them dudes. Should be real. Caleb Martin, nice players, but nah, man. They're not doing nothing in the Eastern Conference against Boston and Milwaukee. None of that. You're not doing nothing with any of them at all. So your cap situation is in the dumps. Your talent situation is null, and now you just need an influx of young talent. That's it. So it's rebuilding time for the Miami Heat if they got any sense to trade everything not named Tyler Hero and Nikola Jovic. God's honest truth. Blow it all up. BDL 44. I thank you all for watching. Out.